we'll be looking at the squash and stretch deformer. We will also learn how to use two or more deformers on a single object. Let's start by creating a cube. Let's make the X 40 and the Z also 40. So we have this long cube. Let's make it 100. Yeah, so we have this. And then let's make the subdivisions or the segments on the Y 60. And then let's make it 6 and 6 on both the X and the Y. And remember, if you want to see the lines, you go to display and then you choose the Gero shading lines here, and you see the lines. Okay. Now I want to add some fillet which smoothes the edges. So with the cube selected, under the object tab inside the attributes manager, we have something called fillet. So when I check it, you see say it creates this beveled edges. Okay, I can decrease the radius to, I think 2 is okay for me, and the fillet subdivision 3 is okay. Now let's add the squash and stretch deformer. So you click on the bend deformer and hold it. It will reveal the other deformers. We choose the squash and stretch deformer. We make it a child of the cube. Okay, and then if you want to see what it does, you do it by changing the factor, this factor. Okay, so this is what the squash and stretch deformer does. It squashes and stretches the object. Okay, let's create a simple animation using this squash and stretch object, and then we will add another deformer so that we know how you can use multiple deformers on one object. So the factor here, let's put it back to 100%. This is our timeline. This is where we will put our keyframes. So I want my playhead, this one, this blue head is the playhead girl. When you click play, you see that is what it moves. I want my playhead to be on 0. So either I click this, goes to the start of the animation here, or I can click and hold on the playhead and put it on 0. Okay, and if you want to set an animation or a keyframe in Cinema 4D, when you look at the parameters, you see this dotted box here. When you click it, it sets an animation. Okay. So we want to animate the factor. So when it's at the start of our timeline, we want the factor to be 100. So we click here. With the factor being 100, we click here to set an animation. You see it's red now. And when you look at here on our timeline, let's move the player. You see this small thing that indicates that we have a keyframe there. Okay, and I want to move to frame number 30 with a squash and stretch selected. I'll change my factor to I think 200 will be okay. 200, and you see the keyframe I set earlier now has turned to yellow. That means that I've changed the parameter on a keyframe and I need to set another keyframe. So with the factor set and the timeline not on where I set the keyframe first, but on a different time, I click set again and it will set another keyframe there. I'll move the playhead to 60 frames here and set the factor back to 100, and then click the animation icon again to set another animation. Now when you play through the animation, this is what we have. It stretches and comes back. Okay, it stretches and comes back. It stretches and comes back. So that is basically what the squash and stretch does to objects in Cinema 4D. Now let's add another deformer to enhance this animation. Okay, so we click and hold on the bend deformer to review the other deformers, and the deformer that we're going to add is a jiggle deformer. a jiggle deformer. Now this jiggle deformer adds some sort of a springy animation effect on your last animation frame. Okay. So in order to make it work, we also add it as a child of this. Now when we add it, look at the animation. When it ends, you see it kind of have this springy feeling to the animation. Okay. Now when you look at the object, you see that the polygons, it's kind of being destroyed, or there's some artifacts on it. Okay, to change this, when you select the jiggle deformer and we come to the structure, okay, the structure, we put it on 0, and then we have a clean polygon of that object. Okay, and then let's change the stiffness a little bit to have the springy a little bit more. Okay. And strength, though it's at 100%, you can go more, so let's go 120. Okay, now we have the jiggle deformer also affecting the cube. Okay, so that is the squash and stretch deformer, and also this is the jiggle deformer. Now the arrangement of your deformer or your deformers, actually have impact on your animation. So let's say if the jiggle deformer was actually the first, you won't see the jiggle deformer, okay? Because the jiggle deformer adds a springy effect to your already animated object. And remember, we are animating this squash object. So the animation comes, and then the jiggle deformer comes and adds that spring effect. Okay. So this is the arrangement for it. Then you put it there, you will see the jiggle deformer adding some spring animation to the end of your animation. Thank you. This covers the squash and stretch deformer and also the jiggle deformer. See you in the next video.